This is the Louie T Network.
In the L.A.B room.
Exclusive.
The market.
Welcome. You are in the L.A.B room. I'm your host, Lou. Thank you for joining me here on the program. Really quick, day 3 of the NFL free agency period, otherwise known as the market. You know what this is. Another edition of Pats, Daps, and Smacks. Let's get right to the proceedings this evening. So, we got to start out with our Daps. Got to give some love to the Jacksonville Jaguars. And look, this is some of that quiet Dap. Don't tell anybody. Shh. Don't tell nobody. I just gave the Jacksonville Jaguars some quiet Dap. This is some on the low Dap, okay? They're fixing up. Look, the game is won in the trenches in the National Football League. If you can't protect, if you can't run block, if you can't get after the quarterback, if you can't stop the run, chances are you're not going to win in this league. And we all know the struggles of the Jacksonville Jaguars. They don't have a quarterback. They got a lot of skill guys that can help win you football games. They need some help in that backfield, but they went out and got Toby Gerhart. I like that move. But what difference does it make if you've got all the things on offense and you don't have any defensive presence? You got to be able to get after the other team's quarterback. You got to force turnovers. You got to be able to get teams off the field on third down, especially in third and long situations. That's what this Jacksonville Jaguars team is trying to do. They're trying to stop the run, put you in situations where you are in third and long, and defense gets to pull and pin their ears back and come after you. Jason Babin coming back, huge move for them. He gets pressure on the quarterback. Ziggy Hood is a guy that they're going to look to help try to bolster the interior of their defense and stop the run. And Chris Clemens is another guy that can get after the quarterback. How can you not love what the Jacksonville Jaguars are doing? Once again, some real quiet, shh, tell nobody, some quiet doubt for the Jacksonville Jaguars. You look at another team that's getting some doubt. I've been beating this team to a pulp, smashing these guys over the last 2 days. I was slapping these guys around. Let's give the Oakland Raiders some love. Let's show these guys some love with some serious hurt your hand dap for what they were able to accomplish in day number 3 of free agency. They had Justin Tuck, and I mentioned this in day 2 when I slapped them around. I said, you had Justin Tuck. You had Lamar Woodley at your facility. How come I haven't heard anything yet? You had the Roger Saffold snafu, and that's got you wiping egg all over your face and wiping it off and like, oh man, how did we get in this position? Now, you go from that embarrassment to bringing home Tuck and Woodley, and you're meeting with Donald Penn. I like what I'm hearing right now. These are guys with winning pedigree that are going to instill a winning mentality in a losing locker room. You got guys that still have something left in the tank that can get pressure on the quarterback. I just talked about Jacksonville trying to get after the quarterback. This Raiders team needs to get after the quarterback. And they attacked that aggressively. Didn't overpay to do it either. And so I like what they're doing. If they can get Donald Penn, you get some stability along that offensive line. Oakland Raiders getting some love from your man Louie T today. You get some dap. No smack, some dap for the Oakland Raiders. You move on. Philadelphia Eagles. Fly, Eagles, fly. And I look at this Eagles team and what they've done in free agency already. Pretty impressive. Then you come to day number 3. You go out and get a guy like Nolan Carroll. Nobody really knows who Nolan Carroll is. But I like Nolan Carroll. He's a long corner, can make plays on the football out of Maryland. Was in Miami. Thought he had his best season of his career in 2013. Dolphins elected to let him walk. The Eagles say, hey, how about we bring you on the team? Can't guarantee you anything. We've got corners already, but we'll give you a chance to compete. That's all you can ask for in this league. And I like Nolan Carroll. And I think he's going to add some value to their secondary. But that wasn't the reason why I decided to get the Eagles some dap today. No. I'm giving the Eagles some dap because they quietly slid over a 5th round selection. 5th round, okay? Not a 4th, not a 5th round, okay? So that's a hot ham and cheese sandwich, a juice box, and a bag of chips. So they slid over a hot ham and cheese sandwich, a nice cold juice box with a nice little disposable straw and a nice bag of Frito-Lays over to the New Orleans Saints in exchange for a playmaker, a deadly playmaker in Darren Sproles. Hey, how about that? The Eagles just got tremendously better, especially on an offense that was already explosive. Now you add Darren Sproles to the mix, and these guys are explosive. And for that, you get explosive. Dap for the Philadelphia Eagles. You move on to another team that gets some dap for me. How about the Washington Redskins? They were this close from me slapping the hell out of them in day number 3 because you keep coming to me with, and look, it's okay to save money. I'm all about saving money, man. Nothing like saving a buck. But when you get to the point where you're being cheap, it's one thing to be cost efficient and to be smart with your money, and then it's another thing altogether to just be cheap. And I felt like the Redskins were just flat out being cheap in the first 2 days of free agency, and it was becoming very annoying. And to the point where you felt like, what are we doing here, guys? What are we really doing here? Until they went out and got Tracy Porter, and Jason Hatcher was the big one that did it for me. I had a guy that's a loyal viewer of the show, my man Ree, asked me, how do you feel about the Jason Hatcher signing? And I said, hey, one word, relief. And he said, relief? Why relief? And I never answered him. And here's your answer, Ree, because I know you're watching. It's relief because up until that move, the Redskins had not done anything of note. And I'm not a guy that's looking for big splash signees. That doesn't win you games. You win games with difference makers and game changers. Jason Hatcher is a game changer. Last year, 11 sacks from the defensive tackle position. That speaks for itself. Clifton Gathers, who is he? You don't know, do you? How about Daryl Sharpton? Is he a game changer? Tracy Porter, he's solid. I like Tracy Porter. He can make a difference on his team. So if you take the Tracy Porter and Jason Hatcher signings away and you tell me that I'm getting Daryl Sharpton and Clifton Gathers, how am I supposed to feel about that? You tell me. So getting Tracy Porter and especially Jason Hatcher, relief, because we're actually getting guys that can make a difference on this football team. Redskins get some dap. They were close to getting smacked, but they saved themselves. Now they get some dap. Look at the Arizona Cardinals. I really like what they're doing in free agency. They don't have a lot of money. They're not overspending for guys. They're making smart moves and moves that are going to help them improve their status within the NFC West. We know how tough this conference is. They won 10 games last year. They went and upgraded the left tackle position. Now they're getting a guy that they lost Andre Roberts. So what do they go do? They go and replace him with a guy that can be more explosive than Andre Roberts in Ted Ginn Jr. And he brings you added value in the returns game. I love the move of bringing in Ted Ginn Jr. to Arizona. You get some love from me. You get some serious love for that. You get some dap. Arizona. So now we move on to the teams that need a nice, cold, hard slap. And it's only one today. And no, it's not the Oakland Raiders. I already gave them some dap. So it's the Carolina Panthers. Oh, what the hell are you guys doing out there? Let me say this, okay? You had some success, and I'm going to give a shout out to my man Big Q. I watched his Black and Blue podcast the other day, and it was phenomenal because he kind of gave you some perspective from a Carolina Panthers fan view. And what he basically said is that they didn't expect to have the success that they had, and you're right. And so that kind of caught them off guard. And really what everybody saw last year as, I know this is what I was looking at it as, is a year where Dave Gettleman came in as the GM the year before, and what happened was he wanted to see Ron Rivera get fired. And I'm not saying he wanted him to get fired, but he was expecting, let me say it like that. He was expecting Ron Rivera to get fired. And he said, look, I know Jerry Richardson is fond of Ron Rivera, so I can't come in and fire this guy. You know, Richardson likes him, wants to give him a shot. All I can do is give the man a shot, but I'm going to give him 1 year to get his act together. Let him sign all the players he likes on 1-year contracts. We're not extending anybody because I don't want any of your guys tied to you around under my next head coach. So all your guys get 1-year deals, and all your guys are on the last year of their contract. We're not re-signing any of those guys because you're going to get fired after this season, most likely, and all of your guys are going to leave with you going out of the door. So that's how Gettleman approached last season. Then you win 13 games, and you win your division, and things change. Or 12 games, excuse me. You win 12 games, go 12-4, and things change. In Carolina, all of a sudden now, you've got a nucleus of guys that you want to keep around. It's too late. And let this be a lesson to all the teams out there in the National Football League. Don't spend a third of your cap on your defensive line. Don't invest that much money on your defensive line. Look, I know it's cool to have two. That's what everybody wants. That's the new rage in the league, to have two, a tag team coming off the edges. And they got Johnson and they got Hardy. But because of what you've done, not reaching a long-term deal with Greg Hardy, and his cap number being so outrageous right now at 13 and some change million dollars, because of that space that you have allocated for him in that franchise tag, till you reach a long-term deal, you don't have any money, man. And so you have sat back and watched your team be taken apart systematically, okay? So you don't have a left tackle now. Your offensive line, guys are picking pieces off of it. And I just mentioned you don't have a left tackle. He retired. Who you throwing the football to? Who's Cam throwing the football to? No Steve Smith. Brandon LaFell is dangling out there. Somebody's going to snatch him up if you're not careful. I know you want him back. What are you waiting on? So you don't have any receivers. Your secondary, taken apart. Captain Munderland, gone. Mike Mitchell, gone. Two huge cogs in your secondary, gone. So your team has been systematically taken apart, has been gutted right in front of your face. No more Steve Smith, your emotional leader. He's gone. So this isn't the same team that won 12 games last year, okay? And the only thing that you've done this year and in day 3 up to this point in free agency is sign back Derek Anderson? Are you kidding me? Let me smack the hell out of the Carolina Panthers. You have botched this whole offseason. You messed up the situation with Steve Smith. Hey, if you didn't want him back, all you had to do was go up to him like a man and say, hey, Steve, we appreciate everything you've done for this franchise, but I think it's time for us to move on. Steve would have understood. He still would have been heartbroken, but he would have understood this is a business and he would have moved on. You handled it like some 6th graders, talking behind the man's back, going out to the media and approaching them and giving them fodder before you went back and told Steve what the situation was. You handled this offseason irresponsibly, and now your team has been gutted right in front of your face. Want to see how you handle your offseason moving forward, how you handle the draft, because I tell you this much, your division is getting better. The Falcons have gotten better. The Saints, I don't know about them, but they made some power moves in free agency. They're not going anywhere. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have gotten markedly better in 2014. And so you right now look like the bottom feeders in the NFC South. Looks like you're trying to go from first to worst. And you know that's how it goes in your division. Teams from the bottom can find their way to the top. And last year, started from the bottom, now you here. That was you last year. That was you. Now look at the Atlanta Falcons. They're going to start from the bottom, and they're going to be at the top. And they're going to look down, and who's going to be down there with the echo? Hey, 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 what about us? It's going to be the Carolina Panthers because of moves like this in this offseason, smacking the hell out of the Carolina Panthers in day number 3 of free agency. And so that concludes my rant. This has been Pats, Daps, and Smacks. Like the content? Want more? Sub up.
In the Lab